You're the best around. Nothing's ever gonna bring me down. You're the best around. Nothing's ever gonna bring me down. Check one. Check two. Check three. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Comic Book Herald Live. Hey, everybody. I'm Dave Busing, founder and editor-in-chief of comicbookherald.com. Let me pull out Barry Windsor Smith's Monsters to stack my mic on. I'm excited today. Huge basketball day today. If y'all caught the Olympics, it was very exciting. It was very good. You know, I don't want to spoil it because I just happened to get lucky and catch the last 5 minutes live. But usually I catch this stuff at night after work. Today I got lucky though, so I won't spoil what happened. But I'm pumped. I'm pumped. What a day. What a day. I've been Steph Curry with the shot, right? We ain't making Drake references anymore, except when it's this applicable. How's it going, everybody? It's good to see you. It's been a while. We have so many comic books to talk about today. We got Uncanny X-Men #1. We got Ultimate Universe stuff. We got Ultimate Spider-Man to catch up on. We got Ultimate Black Panther to catch up on. We got the Power Fantasy, the best new superhero comic you should be reading out right now from Kieran Gillen and Casper Wingard. Gonna have to talk about that one a little bit today. Might do a little Deadpool and Wolverine chatter. Saw that over the weekend. We covered that on My Marvelous Year. My Marvelous Year is the only podcast and reading club taking you from the origins of Marvel Comics to today, which I do with my excellent co-hosts, Charlotte and Zach. Seriously, if you like Marvel Comics and you're not listening to My Marvelous Year, what are you doing? What are you doing? There is no better Marvel Comics podcast. Go ahead, throw them in the chat. Throw an attempt at a Marvel Comics podcast better than My Marvelous Year in the chat, and I will happily tell you why it is so inferior to us. But yeah, we're going to get into these comics and more. Spoilers may follow. Listen, that game was so good, my hat's on backwards. Okay, I can't even keep this thing facing front after that USA-Serbia game. Okay, and based on my excitement, you can maybe guess how it ended. I don't know. Maybe I'm a huge Serbia fan. You don't know. I do like watching Joker play. I don't love that Nikola Jokic has been nicknamed the Joker. Listen, I'm not saying I have a full script. I'm not saying if DC contacted me today, I would say, yes, I have the issue written. But I feel like there's a lot on the table for a Joker of Batman universe furious with Nikola Jokic for stealing his name. I feel like that plot is in play. Do you think the Joker appreciates that this incredible MVP in the NBA took his name and in no way embodies Joker-like traits, which is a good thing, right? Like, as human beings, we should not strive to be like the Joker. Anyway, I'm just saying the Joker would not be happy with the Joker. If you follow that, you're exactly my kind of fan. Listen, I'm the only one out here. My Marvelous Year, only Marvel Comics podcast you need. Comic Book Herald, only Chicago Bulls NBA basketball comics parallel podcast that you need. We have those corners covered. Cool Shirt Kid says, My Marvelous Year is my favorite podcast. That's great. That's amazing. Thank you for saying that. I'm not even asking for you're my favorite podcast. Listen, you don't even have to say that. There are podcasts I like more if we're just going all of podcasting. But if we're talking comics specifically, and we're talking Marvel Comics commentary and reviews, it's not even close. We have the best one out there. All right, so get the word out. But anyway, in the meantime, I'm going to do a live stream, which is probably not the finest comics live stream out there. But you know what? We continue on. I had a vacation. I'm feeling refreshed. We got a Coke in the Superhero Kids Cup. New sponsor. It's from COKEE, 2 E's. It's in a little Superhero Kids Cup. That's our sponsor today. Finally, a new sponsor. All right, let's talk about some comics. Listen, I don't have a single image to show you today not because I didn't do my prep. I did my prep. But because these images did not download, you know what? Here they are. Here they are. I'm seeing them now. I'm going to try to talk and pull up these images while I'm on mic. Could be dangerous, could be deadly. We're going to spend a little bit of time today talking Uncanny X-Men #1. We're going to spend a lot of time today talking about what it is we want out of superhero comics. Power Fantasy #1, new #1 issue, has me in that vein, right? It's got me thinking, am I fatigued by superhero comics? Or am I fatigued by familiar superhero comics? I think you know the answer, right? I think you've been listening to me for even a minute. You know the answer. I don't think I have superhero fatigue. I don't think most people have superhero fatigue. Whether we're talking podcasts, whether we're talking movies, whether we're talking comics, whether we're talking shows, I think most people suffer right now from superhero familiarity. Okay. When storytellers set out to bring focused ideas to a superhero realm, I'm still easily hooked. I think a lot of us are. Krakoa, Marvel's new Ultimate Universe, 20th Century Men, and here's the Power Fantasy, doing the same thing, right? But when the same elements are reheated for new consumption, I'm left pretty cold, left a little chilly, right? I'm not feeling great. And that's what, like, that's X-Men from the Ashes. Or Avengers #17, new comic out today. A comic which is entirely about Storm joining the Avengers. Congratulations to Storm. Love it for her. Join as many teams as you can. Accumulate as many accolades as you can. That is pure comics about comic book stuff. On a meta level, I can get into that sometimes. But here we're just talking about roster construction. I'm more interested in the Team USA roster. Did Tatum play today? Didn't see him on the court. Has Halliburton played this entire Olympics? I don't care. Steph, LeBron, KD, I want to see him out there. They're out there. That's real stuff. Avengers roster construction? I don't care. I don't care. Have an idea. Have a story. Have a theme that connects. Even Ultimate Black Panther. Ultimate Black Panther 7 came out today. A fairly straightforward Black Panther book. Right? This is pretty straight down the middle Black Panther stuff. There are ideas. Brian Edward Hill is doing something interesting with Vibranium, with the worship of resources, even those from Earth, with isolationist politics, with the Maker's grand scheme of control. There are ideas. There are things you can dissect. There are things you can engage with. There are even just conceptual Black Panther ideas. Thoughts to be inspired amidst Caselli's drawing awesome panels of T'Challa powered by Storm's lightning. Like, that is what we come here for. That is why we're here. Both things. Awesome stuff that tickles that childlike sense of imagination in all of us, and give me one idea. One. That's all I need. Every comic, every issue, just give me one. You look at the Power Fantasy #1, and it is going to try to have things to say. Kieran Gillen is about as studied a blend of critic and writer of the superhero genre that we've seen in this era. Gillen gives presentations on Watchmen. Google it. Okay? Kieran Gillen is out here. You can Google Kieran Gillen, Watchmen. You can watch him give like a half-hour lecture on Watchmen. He has been writing mainstream superhero comics for over 15 years. This is somebody deeply engaged with the material and these worlds and what can or should be attempted within them. Doesn't mean he's always right. Doesn't mean you're always going to agree. But he's going to have a thought on the matter. And it's going to be interesting. And it's going to be considered. And in the Power Fantasy, you have an age-old, yeah, but what if superpowers were real? Right? That's the concept. But through the lens of Gillen's vision for modern power and alliances and world politics, it takes on new life. It's not unheard of stuff. It's Watchmen legacy. Absolutely. Most good comics are in the superhero genre these days. It's the Authority legacy. Absolutely. But from someone who thinks deeply about that legacy, I want to hear what they have to say. I'm interested. If Grant Morrison wants to say, here are my thoughts on the Watchmen's legacy, I am all ears. Same goes for Kieran Gillen. I want to see how Gillen and Wingard think we might be able to move forward. What can superhero comics be? It's 2024. It's not 1986. Sorry, Watchmen. What can they be now? It's the kind of superhero comic book worth sinking your teeth into. And it's just one issue. We got one issue so far. That's it. That's all. It's highly enjoyable, highly recommended. It is the superhero comic of the week by far. By far. If you're just joining us, my clock is broken. It is permanently 5:03 in front of me. So I have no idea if I'm on time. I have no idea if I'm over time. Get in your thoughts. Get in your questions. I will address as many of them as I can as I simultaneously... Can we do this? Am I doing this live? I think I am. All right, y'all are going to watch me. I am going to attempt a magical feat right now of deleting the old images and adding the new. Can it be done on the fly? I say yes. My haters are saying no. There we go. Haters proven wrong once again. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. We're going to go through the comics today. We're going to talk about best new comic of the week. We're going to talk about comics catch-up of the week. And then I want to see from you, name a comics podcast that rivals My Marvel this year. Name one. Still haven't seen one come in. We got a lot of the Power Fantasy #1 was great. Y'all are right about that. Randall asks, Dave, did you get my email? I don't know, man. I've been doing things. I have a job and a family. What was your email about? I need context. Uh-oh. What's going on here? Okay, we're still good. RD says, Wilt the Stilt was nicknamed after Stiltman. Fun fact, that is true. That is true. Wilt Chamberlain got the nickname Wilt the Stilt after his 100-point game because everyone said, oh, wow, he scored 100, new record. He's as cool as Stiltman. I think now we can say, now that he's got 100 points in one game, we can say as cool as Stiltman. That's not a lot of people know that. JD says, Dave, MMY is amazing. That is true. Best Marvel Comics podcast. But you did sleep on the Daredevil tie-in under Secret Wars 2. Now Secret Wars 2, notoriously awful. Okay? Trying to anyone who has the stamina to make it through Secret Wars 2 intact and read the whole thing and all the tie-ins, Olympian level comics reading feat. Like if you have read Secret Wars 2 and every tie-in and you made it out the other side feeling okay, you just straight up, you made it out the other side. Olympian level comics reading feat. Jordan asked, Dave, which podcast are you trying to start beef with? None. None are good. Name one Marvel Comics podcast that is good, and I will say, okay, we'll start a beef with them. Listen, it's 2024. It is difficult to gain audiences. It is difficult to reach people via social, to bring in new people on a podcast or to your website. I will absolutely play the beef game. Okay? I will play the beef game with any man who wants to play with me. Right? Am I listening to the words coming out of my mouth? No, not anymore. I stopped a while ago. Okay? But I will play the beef game on behalf of My Marvel this year because not for myself. This is a selfless act. This is not for me. This is because Zach and Charlotte are that good. Zach and Charlotte are that good. Nobody has better co-hosts than this guy right here. Okay? On My Marvel this year. But truly, there's nothing close. Nothing. I'm looking for one answer. Nobody's saying it. Christoph says, still not impressed by From the Ashes. Why would you be? Here's the crazy thing. Uncanny X-Men is, I think, unquestionably the best issue of From the Ashes. Uncanny X-Men #1 came out this week. Got Gail Simone, David Marquez. I think it's the best issue of From the Ashes. I think they did a really strong job. It is clearly the flagship, to my mind. I think it is unquestionably the book. right? And X-Men, the Gemma K version, did not have that juice. It did not have that energy. Uncanny X-Men, I'm like, yes, this is the one. This is the one. It's still stuck in an era and a through line that is defined by having no through line, by having no ideas. What is the like? And that's the crazy thing is like From the Ashes is not even, oh, the X-Men are scattered to the winds, and that's the idea, and that's the through line. It's not even that. It's just aimless. And you cannot tell me we can go from big picture, big idea Krakoa to no ideas and just like good characterization and all your faves battling dragons together. Like, listen, I'm sorry. Gail Simone and David Marquez wrote a good Logan, good Remy, good Rogue, nice dragon fight. Weird Savage Avengers cut, but sure, nice dragon fight. That, to me, that's like a backup in like an X-Men anthology. It's not a kickoff to a new era. It doesn't tell me a damn thing about what this era is going to give me other than disappointment. And I feel really badly about that. I do. I feel really effing badly about that because I am rooting for Simone and Marquez. Truly. I am rooting for them. They have put in the effort. They care about this. They want to make good X-Men comics. I do not doubt that for a damn second. Okay? But the overall tissue, the overall vision of this is no shared vision. Name an idea from the Ashes era. Name one. What idea has come out of this era so far? I'll wait. Go ahead. Put it in the chat. That's what I want to talk about. I need an idea. I need a theme. Otherwise, it's just reheated X-Men. And I am tired of reheated X-Men. I have had my fill of good X-Men. Right? I don't need it reheated. So that's my disappointment with this. It is not the fault necessarily of the creators. And again, it's not even necessarily a reason to like. I think it's a strong X-Men issue. I think it's the best of the ones that have come out so far. If you're reading this and you're like, oh, that's disappointing, I really liked it. Good. You like enjoy it. Have fun. My my station in life does not need to be your own, right? My perspective that I bring to comics does not need to be your own. You can enjoy things without me also enjoying them. And vice versa, But when I come to comics and I come to art, I'm looking for new ideas, and I'm looking for them done in a manner that I have not experienced before, and nothing in the From the Ashes era even touches that. I would like them to touch that. Randall says UBP is just not cutting it. Needed to hit the gas. Ultimate Black Panther is slow. It is definitely slow. It benefits right now heavily from the fact that all three other books are cooking with gas. But at some point within the first 10 to 12 issues, I do think you're right, Randall. It is going to have to put its foot on the gas. Make a choice. At some point, it's going to have to make a choice. I think you're totally right. Wildstar says, Dave, don't normally catch you live. Just wanted to say I love your discussions. Thank you, Wildstar. I love that you love my discussions. And I'm glad you're here with us live. Really appreciate you being here. Banksy says, second week, Ultimate Black Panther came out, and it somehow went under my radar. It is understandably the most underrated or under the radar Ultimate Universe book. Voss says, Power Fantasy, was it good? Damn straight it was good. Damn straight it was good. It's the best superhero comic of the year? Question mark? It's the superhero comic y'all should be reading. If you, like me, are tired by leftovers, check out the Power Fantasy. Jordan says, Marvel by the month rivals MMY. I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize to me for being wrong. You don't. It's okay. Everybody, half the world is wrong half the time, right? Marvel by the month. Is that the one that copied the idea of MMY but does it slower and worse? Is that right? Do I have that right? I think that's Marvel by the month. I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if they brought what Zach, Charlotte, and I bring to the table. What do they got that we don't got, Jordan? That's what I want to know from you. Let's see. JD says beyond. JD still talking about Daredevil in Secret Wars 2. JD, get with the times. It's 40 years ago, man. Good golly. Get with the times. We still out here defend. I think that's the Daredevil fights a vacuum, right? That everybody likes to memify. We talked about that more than enough. I promise. I promise we covered Daredevil Secret Wars fighting a vacuum. No, that's Inferno. That's Inferno. Okay, hang on. I may have misspoke. I may have gotten a little out of line there, JD. You're right. We probably did short shrift the amount of time we gave to Daredevil in Secret Wars 2. That said, I stand by the decision. It was not worth our time. Thank you for participating. Let's see. B-Ray says Cerebro is pretty good. I don't know. Net positive or net evil? A device that allows you to get in the minds of every mutant across the world. They have not consented. They did not click accept on those cookies. I'll tell you that. Right? Did Charles Xavier say, Cerebro would now like to access your brain? Accept cookies. I don't think he did. If the X-Men, Charles Xavier had a fortune, squandered a fortune. If he wanted to, he could have given a literal cookie to every mutant on the planet as a means of getting them to consent to Cerebro. And he chose that. He chose not to. Yet another example of the heinous crimes and unethical decisions of Charles Xavier. Baku Blade says, I second Cerebro and Blurred Cave. Love me some Blurred Cave. You know it. I know it. Ernie is the greatest guest in the history of Comic Book Herald Live. There will be no slander against Ernie. I'm not looking to start beef with Ernie. A legend. Love the work. I listened to his review of, what was it? It was one of the From the Ashes. No, it was Era of Apocalypse. It was Era of Apocalypse number 4 because I was curious who the Era of Apocalypse was because I stopped reading that series. And watching Ernie, who is so good at maintaining positivity, who is so good at connecting with audiences and just continuing to be willing to enjoy the superhero rat race, which I obviously have stumbled upon. I think I ran into one of the hurdles at some point midway through the Krakoa era. Ernie is so good at that. And listening to him try to talk about Era of Apocalypse and not say, this was so boring and such a waste of time in such polite terms, it was a delight. A delight, I say. It was great. Also, I did learn what the answer was. I guess ciphers are new apocalypse. Okay. Okay. That would have been interesting during the Krakoa era. We're not there anymore. All right. Va says, is it best with an asterisk? I think you're talking about Uncanny X-Men. No. I think it's just the best of the From the Ashes era. I do. It was the most engaged I felt with the series. It was the most I felt like a series was leading the charge of what X-Men comics are kind of going to be. But like, I guess if you're just saying like, is that on a curve? Like, yeah, it's like compared to the rest of the From the Ashes era. If we're just talking about like the history of X-Men comics, then like, you know, I'm willing to give Simone and Marquez an arc, which I will not be reading in real time, but like, you know, I'll catch up on a Marvel Limited and see. What do they got? What do they got? I don't know. Voss says, Power Fantasy is in my basket now. There we go, baby. Hand sold a comic again. Hand sold. Who is selling more comics out here than Comic Book Herald? That's what I want to know. You find me a comic shop selling more comics than Comic Book Herald. Right? This is just all false arrogance today on the pod where I pretend that I know I'm the best podcast and I pretend that I know I'm selling more comics than anyone. That's what we're doing. Christoph says, Dave, did you do a review of Deadpool and Wolverine? We did on the My Marvelous Year podcast. and Reading Club. Go to My Marvelous Year, our last variant cover, which came out just this past weekend. We released an episode every Monday. That was our conversation about Deadpool and Wolverine. I probably would have waited another week. I'm glad I didn't, because I would have been spoiled on a couple things that were actually very fun. But I caught it the second weekend so we could have the conversation, and it was a really good conversation. We talked about Deadpool and Wolverine in full, and we also talked about the news that Dr. Robert Downey Jr. was coming back as Dr. Doom. That is on the My Marvelous Year pod. Here are my thoughts on those two things for those of you who are interested. First thought on Deadpool Wolverine. I think it's a mid-tier MCU movie. Ultimately, I won't do like the full review right here, but what I will say, the one thing that bothered me kind of the most, actually, let's start here. The things I enjoyed the most. One of these is a spoiler, so like pause for like 2 minutes if you want to hear this. Okay, the things I enjoyed the most. I thought Cassandra Nova was pretty good. I thought, what is it, Emma Corrin? I thought they did a nice job as Cassandra Nova. They were appropriately kind of haunting in moments. Yet again, a classic MCU waste of a supervillain, right? We want to make sure that if we have a nice supervillain, that we throw them away so we can never use them again. It's kind of the MCU mantra. They will, Cassandra Nova will definitely win 2024's There Is No Mandarin Award. The There Is No Mandarin Award is an award I started handing out in 2013 for the MCU villain most thoroughly wasted in service of the plot. So I've been keeping tabs on that for over a decade now. Wow, look at that. And 2024's winner is going to be Cassandra Nova because, of course, she was wasted in service of the plot. Nonetheless, the performance was good. I enjoyed that character. The second thing I enjoyed the most, and this is the big spoiler, the cameo specific to everybody's favorite Cajun. Okay, and I guess I'll try to like avoid, if you haven't seen the rest of it, maybe you can piece together what I mean. That surprised me. That tickled me. It made me laugh. It made me smile. It made me happy. Gambit has never had a better year. I put it on record. I have put it on paper. 2024 is unquestionably the best year in the history of Gambit. Never been more electable. All right. I was happy with the Tim Waltz pick, but honestly, could have been Gambit. Could have been Gambit. Seriously electable this year, post 97 and post Deadpool and Wolverine. I enjoyed those two things. The thing that bothered me, okay, we got a Wolverine picked out of the multiverse. Everybody's telling us he's the worst Wolverine. His backstory, his tragic backstory, not that bad. You're telling me that's worse than what happened to Old Man Logan? You're telling me this Wolverine has a worse sob story than Old Man Logan? Not even close. We just covered Old Man Logan on Marvel this year. This morning, speaking of the world's greatest Marvel Comics podcast, I needed the backstory for that Wolverine to be significantly worse. To have a reason they were calling him the worst Wolverine, that wasn't just like kind of normal Wolverine stuff. So anyway, I thought that sucked. Otherwise, it was a perfectly enjoyable movie. Okay. What was the other question? Oh, Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom. Okay. I think it's fair to say I'm a pretty big Dr. Doom fan. You can see it behind me here. Some Dooms on the wall. Love Dr. Doom. I've been trying to get my wife to agree to at least the middle name Vaughn. Listen, I wanted Doom. I wanted Von Doom. I kind of wanted Victor. Not totally. Like, you really want a kid named Victor. But I wanted Von Doom. It's like, all right, if you're not going to give me Von Doom, can we at least agree to Vaughn? That's still a work in progress. And as you can probably guess, it's work I'm losing. And will continue to lose. But nonetheless, a big Doctor Doom fan. Best villain in the Marvel Universe. Best villain in comics. Straight up best villain? Who's a better villain? Darth Vader? I take Doctor Doom. Who's a better villain? Anybody? Not Thanos. Like the aliens from Alien? No, not even close. Not even close. Who's a better villain? The Nazis? Get out of here. Too real. Who's a better villain than Doctor Doom? Name one. Banksy says Doom is number one villain. We got it confirmed right here. Voss says, I don't like RDJ as Doom. I really wanted a fresh new face for the new phase. So did Doom. Doom wanted a fresh new face too for a long time. JD says, RDJ as Doom may be awesome, but if he kills it as Doom, you can't give me an actual Victor Von Doom and or actor to play a better Doom. I hate that. Twisted logic, but interesting. Emmanuel says, Kingpin or Green Goblin better than Doctor Doom? Emmanuel. Emmanuel. No, not better than Doctor Doom. Cool Shirt Kid says, I'm not going to lie, Von Busing goes hard. Thank you. I'm recording that bit. I'm passing it to my wife. Thank you very much. Mountain Lion says, Secret Wars White Doom. That is a badass costume. That God, if you want to say, actually, God Emperor Doom is even cooler than Doctor Doom, we are open to conversation. Anyway. I'm gonna hit like an hour. Like BS. What time is it? 5:49. Okay. RDJ is Doctor Doom. It feels desperate. It was genuinely surprising. But it feels real desperate. Doesn't it? Okay, here was my first thought was, it makes total sense. Tony Stark variant goes on to become Doom. We've seen that done in Exiles. We got Infamous Iron Man. The barrier between Tony Stark and Doctor Doom has always been razor thin. Makes total sense. I tweet that out. Everybody responds. They said, well, excuse me, Dave, but they said that this is Victor Von Doom, and it's not a Tony Stark variant. But no, this is the Victor Von Doom. Okay, we're like 4 years out from this happening. There's still a real chance of some twists and complexity, perhaps, to the storytelling device. I am fully on board. Perhaps I'm a rube. Perhaps I'm being tricked, but I am fully on board with the prospect that Marvel might have a trick up their sleeve, that they might have a little secret sauce to the announcement of RDJ as Doom rather than just playing it dead straight. Like, it makes sense to me that a Victor Von Doom from the Fantastic Four timeline, let's say, or multiverse, would be like, yeah, I copied Tony Stark's face because he was the world's greatest hero, and I wanted people to trust me. There's a way you can explain it. Now, Charlotte from My Marvelous Year, who I respect immensely until she contradicted me on this, she thinks that there will be no explanation for why Victor Von Doom has Tony Stark's face, and that, in fact, it will just be Robert Downey Jr. straight up, do you want to love me forever, right? It will just be Dr. Doom straight up with Tony Stark's face and no explanation given. We have a bet. This happened on the last episode of My Marvelous Year. We have a bet right now. Charlotte says Victor Von Doom, it will never be explained why he has Tony Stark's face. I said it would be insane. It would be insane if that is never explained. The bet right now is, if it is explained why Victor Von Doom has Tony Stark's face, Charlotte has to eat a bug. If it is not explained why Victor Von Doom has Tony Stark's face, I have to eat a bug. When I told my wife of this bet, she said, you got to stop making bets with kids because Charlotte is much younger than I am. To which I had to admit to her, I introduced the idea and the bet. It was my bug bet. So that's happening. Maybe I'll do it live on air here on the YouTube stream if I have to eat the bug. I hope I don't have to eat the bug. We haven't agreed yet on what bug it's going to be. Somebody in our Slack suggested apparently cricket powder is popular in making pizza crust. That's a Dr. Seussism. Cricket powder is popular in making pizza crust. That seems like a cop-out. Like, oh, I'm eating pizza, but I'm eating a bug. That seems like a cheat. We'll talk about it. I've been fishing a lot over the last couple of weeks, getting real strong in my putting worms on hooks game, pulling fish off hooks game. Something kind of new to me. Feeling real manly.
Feeling real strong about that. A worm would freak me the hell out if I had to eat a worm. We'll keep talking about it. Listen over the next couple weeks. Getting your suggestions, getting your thoughts, getting your comments on what kind of bug we got to eat. Here's the real question: am I going to have to eat a bug? What do y'all think about that? Who's going to have to eat the bug, Dave or Charlotte? That's what I want to know. Braden says the real Victor Von Doom kills Robert Downey Doom. Sure. My thing is I would like it more if RDJ Doom is just like a get butts and seats, pull us through Secret Wars version from a multiverse, and then there's a real Doom waiting in the wings. Because I think here's the thing that worries me the most about this casting. It's not that RDJ can't play Doom. I enjoy this actor a lot. They don't have to be like everybody's like, oh, they're going to be making quips. It's like this is a skilled individual. I bet they can figure out how to play a character differently. Okay? I'm not worried about that part of it. I'm most worried that Marvel has gotten Doctor Doom wrong every time they've ever tried in a movie. We have had 1, 2, 3, 4 attempts, and they have blown it every time, with the possible exception of the Roger Corman, which I'm counting in there, which actually is the best of the 4. The 90s schlock. Okay? And so they've gotten it wrong every time. There are 2 things that I care about in the MCU right now. There are 2 things that I care about. Number 2. Number 2, the first X-Men movie. I care and I hope that the first X-Men movie is awesome. I'm rooting for a Fantastic Four, right? But that's like, it's happening, it'll be great or it's not. I'm hoping, but like what I really care about, number 2, good X-Men movie. Number 1, great Doctor Doom. Great Doctor Doom. And you're telling me, right off the bat, they're complicating it and they're making it hard on themselves. You know, we're not just doing Doom. We're not just trying to capture the spirit of Doom. We're doing RDJ Doom. There's already wrinkles in the mix. There's already complexity. There's already strangeness. And there's already a lot of doubt. That makes me nervous. That makes me real nervous. Hashim Warren says, what's the core of Dr. Doom? I'd argue his jealousy of Mr. Fantastic. That's a good one, but that's not the core of Doom. It's not the core of Doom. There's a lot to Doom before he ever meets Mr. Fantastic. Right? This is an individual, a Romani individual, who sees his family hunted by Latvarian royalty, who sees his mother die at a young age, whose father is taken from him, who has to lead a group of his people. Like, I would say his status as a Romani outcast and his desire to resist and take power from Latveria, that to me is more the core of Doom than the jealousy of Mr. Fantastic. That's supplemental. It's related, but it's supplemental. You know? So anyway, it's early days. I don't want to overstate my concerns. I don't want to be I bet it's pretty popular to dump on this casting, right? To read it fully as the MCU is cooked type stuff, which, you know, admittedly, like I see that. But I'm willing to allow for some complexity, for some surprises, for some different ways of approaching this. If they just walk into this and they're just like, yeah, just RDJ is Doom and we're not going to make any, that's not a part of the story. The fact that he has Tony Stark's face has nothing to do with this. I am going to be baffled and confused and very disappointed. And also have to eat a bug. So y'all got to let me know what bug I'm going to eat. All right. Getting your questions, getting your thoughts. I think we're getting close to being done here. Hashim says, my fear is that Doom won't have the relationship with Reed that we need. That's another piece that concerns me is it is 2024. Fantastic Four comes out, 25? then Avengers Doomsday is in 26. You do not have runway to build Doom. Right? And then the Secret Wars. Like, you don't have runway to build this villain. I guess the part of it that I like for sure, is they just cast Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. And they are paying him more money than any of us could even conceive of having. Unless I have like one incredibly wealthy listener. In which case, Super Chat is open and it is available. If only you would participate. Okay? But like, they're gonna put emphasis on this guy. They are gonna have a lot of Doom-centric stories. You cast Doom and you cast RDJ and you pay him that kind of money, we are going to have some Doom-centric stories. I like that. That makes me kind of excited. The fact that they rebranded from Kang to Doomsday, and Doom's clearly going to be the guy in Secret Wars, like that actually feels pretty smart. You're not going to have a lot of people out here who are like, my Kang era is over. No, I invested so much in King the Conqueror stock. Like, that was a mistake. Even before we knew about Jonathan Major's legal troubles. That was a mistake. Kang has never been the guy. Kang has been the guy that Dr. Doom makes fun of and steps on. Okay? Kang's never been the guy. So I'm happy it's Doom. I'm happy it's going to get focus. I'm nervous about the desperation potentially. You know? All right. What else do we got today? Anything? Iron Lad's back. That's exciting. Banksy says, did you read the final issue of Bloodhunt, Dave? I'm excited about what it does with Doom and the future of his character. Yeah, it's been a long... I haven't read any of Bloodhunt. And but I did see what happened. And I saw that next year Marvel's going to have a super Doom-centric event, which always has robust potential. It's been a long time coming that Dr. Doom would be the Sorcerer Supreme of the universe. I mean, that is teased and played with in excellent fashion back in the Roger Stern, Mike Mignola, Doctor Strange, Dr. Doom, Triumph, and Torment. Classic Marvel OGN, right? Where Dr. Doom goes and participates in the Sorcerer's battle. I always love the magic side of Doom. I like that he's the rare character who, yes, he has the Tony Stark tech, but also he's got the magic. I don't really know how it happened or what happened. I am curious now a little bit to read the final issue of Bloodhunt at least and see what this means for Doom. But like, yeah, Doom being the Sorcerer Supreme, like, I'm really interested in that. I'm more interested in that, frankly, than Doctor Strange. I think there are two writers who in recent years have really written a good Doom. Ryan North and Al Ewing. I think Jed MacKay has that potential. So if Jed MacKay is going to do Doom stuff in a Doctor Strange or Sorcerer Supreme book, like, I'm excited for that. I think that's a nice direction. Again, give focus to Doom. Do interesting things. Have new ideas. Try them out. Let's see what comes of it. I'm interested. Hashim says, who in comics would you like Feige to consult to get Doom right? Well, I just named a few, right? Al Ewing wrote a really good Doom. Ryan North wrote a really great Doom. If you're just saying, who in the world are our Dr. Doom experts? Jonathan Hickman, high on that list. Wrote an amazing Doom in Fantastic Four, on through Secret Wars, and even recently with Sanford Green on that Doom one-shot, which is one of my favorite comics of the year. So you got to get Hickman's voice in the room. Who else? Still living. Because obviously Jack Kirby. But who else would you go to for Dr. Doom-centric thinking? It's a challenging question. You got Stern and Mignola on that Triumph and Torment. I don't know that either of them are necessarily going to be like consulting voices on a Doom. That's a really hard question. Hickman's kind of the only answer that comes to mind. You know, it's a little bit like, I said for years, like, Jim Starlin is the only writer I want writing Thanos. And Jonathan Hickman barely passed the bar on Thanos, and then Kieran Gillen actually like became my second favorite Thanos writer. You know what? Actually, Donna Cates was in the mix. Actually, we had a few. Jeff Lemire did a nice job too. I take it back. Post Secret Wars, a handful of writers got in the mix, and we're like, okay, let's rise to this challenge. I feel like we still need to see that with Doom a bit. I mentioned Ryan North. I mentioned Al Ewing. They know what they're doing with Doom. But yeah, I mean, outside of just like recent comics writers, I'd be curious. I would want to hear Mark Waid's thoughts. Mark Waid writes an amazing Doctor Doom monologue in the Onslaught saga. Deep cut, I know. But in 1996's Onslaught saga, Mark Waid writes a hell of a Doctor Doom monologue. And Mark Waid also wrote the Doom Wastelanders podcast series about an older Doctor Doom in the Old Man Logan universe. Kind of interesting stuff. You should get Mark Waid in the room as well. I think that'd be a nice pick. Mr. Evil Dr. Porkchop says, Kang is my guy, sad face. I mean, it is going to be weird if they just fully hand wave away the last 4 years, 3 years of like direction. Like nothing would make this a more fully forgettable phase. Even though if you just look on an individual movie by movie basis in the MCU, like, yeah, it's probably not that different than what it was before. But if you're looking at direction and you're looking at connective tissue and you're wanting these things to connect and matter, obviously it was not where it was from 15 to 19 building to Endgame, right? And then if you just throw Kang out entirely, it's just like full on like, oh yeah, this was a weird time. And maybe they'll course correct, maybe they don't. But yeah, okay, we don't need to do the whole cake thing. But you say here, Mr. Evil Dr. Porkchop, but I think Doom was always the plan. I think eventually, but I think they're hitting the gas on that faster than they wanted to. I don't think they wanted to go to it this quick. Banksy says, so I'm guessing you share my opinion that X-Force wasn't very good. I haven't read it yet, actually. So I can't say for certain. Hashim says, did you like Bendis' take on Doom? Not especially, no. What are we talking about? Like Mighty Avengers? When else does he write Doom? Ultimate Fantastic Four, maybe? No, I wouldn't turn to Bendis for Doom commentary. All right. JD came in with a super chat, says, rarely see this live. Love your show every week. Thanks so much. Thanks for being here, even if we let you down with Daredevil commentary and Secret Wars 2. What else do we got to talk about today? Is there anything important? I had some notes, but I think I exited out of them. Let's see if I can find them again. What a pro. Right? Have you ever listened to a more professional stream? Voss says, how was Ultimate Spider-Man number 7? That's what I wanted to talk about. Thank you. What a timely question. Thank you so much. Ultimate Spider-Man continues to be a very good. You got Hickman and Chiquetto. A lot of nice, like, are we teasing Venom? Oh, are we teasing Green Goblin stuff going on in this issue? It's there. The seeds are there. You can feel them. We've now officially entered the things are crossing over and connecting territory, because we have Iron Lad showing up at the end of this, coming to figure out probably if Spidey wants to join their Ultimates. He's going to say no. Spoiler warning. Just that feels like a lock. Ultimate Spider-Man is so tight. It's such a strong book. I'm very excited about Ultimate still. Ultimate X-Men continues to be the most just like head-scratching, bizarre delight. And I'm pretty invested in Ultimate Black Panther 2. I'm so happy there's the Ultimate Universe right now. Because, man, would I not have any Marvel Comics to talk about otherwise. But yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man, like, it kind of hasn't missed. You know? I think I've let go of the idea or the possibility that, like, there's going to be some giant Hickman concept, or it's going to be multiversal, or there's a huge twist coming. He's just doing Spider-Man. And you know what? That's kind of what so many people wanted. It is. Oh, Hashim points out Doom became Iron Man under Bendis. Yes, infamous Iron Man. You know what? I liked Infamous Iron Man a lot. I have a hard time sometimes with the latter stage Bendis stuff with Alex Maleev, because I like Alex Maleev's work so much that I'm like, do I like this story, or do I just like looking at what Maleev is doing with this Doom costume, which rules? You know? But I had a fun enough time with Infamous Iron Man. I don't think it's a classic or anything. And no, I don't think Bendis owns Doom's voice to the degree of the people I mentioned before. But you know what? Like, Post-Secret Wars, that was exactly the right book. That was exactly the right book. It was exactly the right approach. And then everything goes back in the box eventually, but it was more fun when it wasn't. All right, getting your questions, getting your thoughts. I'm going to take a sip from our sponsor today. Again, this is Coke in a superhero cup. What kind of Coke, I will not say. Getting your questions. Banksy asks, are there any DC comics you liked recently? Yeah, Junie Baz, The Boy Wonder, is really good. I need to finish Batman City of Madness by Christian Ward, but I enjoyed that in the early days. I got the issues behind me here. I got a fair amount of Black Label stuff sitting behind me that I got to catch up on. You know what I actually enjoyed the most recently was Barda by the author of Check Please. That was a nice all-ages book. Rekindled some Fourth World stuff. I'm super excited for what Ron V's got cooking on the Fourth World side. Listen, DC's got a very exciting fall coming up. Very exciting. You know, I like I said at the opening of this, like, bring an idea. Bring a take. Don't just reheat. That seems to be the DC mantra heading into this absolute DC thing. You're going to have Al Ewing on the DC side. You're going to have some big name creators doing interesting stuff. I'm very much looking forward to that. Like, this fall, come fall, I may switch entirely to talking about DC books on the superhero side. You know, it might be Ultimate Universe and it might be DC again. I don't know. I think otherwise, like, when I look at kind of the mainline continuity stuff, I tried Flash again. I tried Wonder Woman again. I can respect it, but I don't. It's not for me. I'm not enjoying it a hell of a lot at this stage. The Wade and Dan Mora stuff, that is just... Listen, Dan Mora is incredible. I love that Dan Mora has been made like the flagship artist of DC Comics. To me, that's just too much Mark Waid nostalgia circuit for me to really get into it. Some people seem to love it, which is great. I'm seeing here, I'm confused by what Absolute actually is. Yeah, I think a lot of people are. I mean, because it's, I think the early rumors were like DC's going to do an Ultimate Universe. And instead, they've muddled the waters where it's like, no, the Absolute DC Universe is, it's another Earth within the DC Earth. So instead of just making it like, yeah, it's our alternate reality, or yeah, it's Black Label, so it's out of continuity, it's like, it's kind of confusing how it does or doesn't connect. My expectation would be it's pretty close to an Ultimate Universe style approach, where it's creators that get to do their own thing with kind of a new version of these characters, generally free from continuity. I guess the question would be, will these things cross over, right? Because in the Marvel Ultimate Universe, as we just saw in Ultimate Spider-Man #7, right, these books are going to cross over. They are occupying the same territory. Is that the case with Absolute DC? I guess time will tell. Up front, it kind of seems to be. Because otherwise, it's just like, well, you already have Black Label. Why not just do more of that? So I think it's all going to kind of occupy the same universe. Would be my expectation. But again, I mean, I'm interested when Al Ewing's going to bring to a Green Lantern mythos. I want to see that. I want to see Ron V do the Fourth World. So that's great. I mean, there's momentum here where it seems like DC has, you got Kelly Thompson right on Wonder Woman. It seems like DC is the creator preferred publisher at the moment. Creators seem to be jumping to DC. There's something in the water there. There's something in the paychecks there. There's something in editorial there that folks definitely seem to respond to more. And, you look at Marvel and it's like, what do y'all got? They are losing their biggest names to DC with fair regularity. So, I'm interested what those books are going to look like. 7 says, when do you think the Illuminati and Miles will show up? I don't believe that Hickman would have had the maker give Miles a card for no reason. I think that's all Ultimatum stuff. When they launch Ultimatum 2.0 next year, I think we're going to see all those threads come on down. Maker's coming back. Illuminati will be in the mix. Miles will be in the mix. I would not hate it. And I don't know what the temperature on this is. I would not hate it if Miles went back to the Ultimate Universe. It just feels like there's more room there for Miles to excel than maybe they found in 616. But this is the first time I'm thinking about it, and I'm saying it out loud into a microphone. So that could be a terrible take. I don't know. All right, last chance. Questions and thoughts. I'm playing a lot of Marvel Snap lately. I took like 2 months off. I got back in hard. There's a lot of new developments. A lot of fun stuff. If you see Comic Book Herald on Snap, that's me. That is me you're playing. I look forward to seeing you there. Jordan says, need that Hickman Legion of Superheroes comic ASAP. I tell you what, if DC gets Hickman, that's a genuine big deal. But I don't see it happening. Seven says, that would be a very intricate event. The Makers Council, the Ultimates, the Illuminati, and Miles. I think the Illuminati and Miles stuff, I think that's background stuff. The real showdown here is Return of the Maker, the Ultimates Council, and then whatever heroes are developed in these books. But I could see, like, the Maker being like, I've had all this time to think about it, and I'm going to start over again because this went awry, and then you maybe get the Illuminati and Miles in the mix as he attempts to do that. Little Dave Stinney for you. All right, this has been good. This has been fun. I've had a good time. Basketball's had a good time. Oh, I tell you what, having summer basketball that's, like, great and matters, even watching Wemby play badly is just fascinating. Like seeing a talent like that, even when he's not good, playing for the French home crowd. If anybody's got tickets to Paris, you're too late. But thank you for thinking of me. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you all for being here. It's been fun. It's been great. Will we be back next week? That's the interesting question. Always leaving you on the edge of your seats. I think I will be. I think I'll be here next week. What comes out next week? August 14th. We got the Ultimates number 3. Yep, want to talk about that. We got, oh boy, X-Men number 2. Okay. Immortal Thor number 14. Oh, you know what? Actually, next week, I've already got it scheduled. It's already scheduled. I'm talking about the Essential Manga with Brianna Lawrence. Forgot all about that. I'm talking the Essential Manga next week with the literal author of the book, The Essential Manga. That's going to be fun. Come join me for that. We're going to talk about what are the best manga of all time, what made her cut, what didn't, what should have, what shouldn't have. Nah, I'm not going to make that accusatory. I don't know. I don't know it well enough. It'll be fun, though. Come here next week. I'll talk a little bit about comics at the end. All right. Thanks, y'all, for listening. Thanks for joining. Really appreciate you being here. Enjoy the comics.